about high vibration and how to keep your vibration high in these times. Debbie, I'll hand over to you.
I've found that for myself, there's a real need to protect my energy field each day. And I've done this for years and years now in putting myself in the light. And I always visualize prisms of light coming down around me, connecting me to the divine, to God, down into the earth, to Mother Gaia. And I find that this just kind of supports me and really helps me just kind of keep balanced and also to get grounded. I think you'll agree, Rita, about keeping grounded is a major thing. So getting out in nature and really connecting to the earth. And I do have one of these amazing, I didn't bring it in with me, grounding mats that I've got, which you can just plug in and put your feet on, and it helps to ground you. Especially if you're not getting out, haven't got the possibility to get out. It's a fantastic thing to do, and it does make you feel so much better. And not getting pulled in to negative energy, because I think that is really easy. So I think also to wake up with gratitude. I do that every morning. Even before I get out of bed, I just lie there and just feel that gratitude for everything that I have, from the tiniest thing, to knowing that I've got a warm house. And so it's having that gratitude for the small things, for the sun coming in, for the bird song, them focusing on what, I haven't got, or, everybody else, not to focus on what you haven't got, to focus on what you do, and that brings in more of that energy.
Definitely. And I think, it is about tuning in. We've got this amazing time, really. It's like reframing it almost as well, and saying, look, me, it's like making the most out of something that doesn't appear to be great, and look at the good things, like you're getting time to, develop your relationship with your family, spending more time indoors, in your internal space. So, I've over the last year been doing loads of decluttering. I've managed to sort out loads, which actually, when the lockdowns have stopped, it's been amazing, because I've known where things are and I've sorted out things that I no longer need. And I think, having a space that's decluttered, it's key to your energy management, isn't it? Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, no, definitely. But I think, I think I've decluttered and decluttered and decluttered. And now, because I think I have decluttered so much, I have a compulsion then to buy things to fill up the gaps where I have decluttered. It's letting things go to allow new things to come in. But
Yeah.
I think everybody at the moment is kind of going through their own stuff, because I live here by myself. So it is great to be indoors, and it's great to have time to be able to do things. But when you're by yourself as well, it's a two-way thing. I can see the positive side of, I've got my time, I could do my garden, I could do some baking, but then, because you can feel lonely and disconnected, and I'm a bit of a free spirit. So, I like to get in my car and I just like to go places, or I like to book something up and I like to go out and do things. And I'm quite okay doing it by myself. But when you haven't got the freedom to do that and you're stuck in one environment, it is in some ways learning a different way of living your life that you haven't done beforehand, without getting frustrated. So for me, I keep having to pull myself back into that positive, like you were saying, it's great because you've got time to declutter and you've got time to deal with things around your home. So I have to kind of pull myself back into that way that I have to do things at the moment. And that for me is that I feel that I never will be able to plan anything again, or book a flight to some amazing country or something like that. But it's, at this moment, is very much that balancing act. And I think that's what everybody, I always kind of have that analogy of this the seesaw. Either we're up or either we're down, but we've got to try to move to the middle. So we've got a foot on either side so we can keep that balance.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a load of techniques that I use every day to keep my energy up because, I'm human like anyone else. So lives have been turned upside down. But, for me, staying positive and staying with that ethos is that you should always have enough things in your toolkit to enable you to stay steady in the eye of any storm. So, regardless of what's going on in my life, I'm always doing my affirmations. I've used a lot of resources. I'll put some links at the bottom. I'm a big fan of Louise Hay stuff. Big fan of another lady called Alla, who's a fifth generation Russian healer. She's written a great book called Own Your Own Energy. There's lots of strategies in there. Whenever I feel my energy that's going down, I go and have a shower with some oil and some salt. That immediately just cleanses, because we are physical beings in a physical universe. And, in the mornings, I do my protection, like you said, with my aura, bringing the violet flame. I'm a very spiritual person. So, I draw on the angels, and, it is about me going through that almost ritual every day routine, that despite the fact that we're in this lockdown, that, I can still have my own rules of things that I'm going to do at certain times. I'm still going to go for a walk. So, I'm not going to let the outside world dictate to me. I'm going to create my own world within the framework of what's happening. What do you think about that?
No, I totally agree with that. And I also use the violet flame. I've kind of gone back to the Elizabeth Clare Prophet books, that were first originally written with her and her husband, Mark. I do the violet flame a lot now, and I do find that really helps. Well, 4 parts really to work with the head, the hands and the heart, and then put the they call it a kind of pillar of light, but I always put prisms of light, like the freedom of that. I feel as though they're ever changing. Then is a need to embrace the emotions that do come up. So I feel that, if you do, feel sad, then do get the box of tissues out and maybe put on that sad movie to release that, because we are evolving as soul, linking to angels, and I link in a lot to Archangel Michael. It's not to hold things in. So I think that's important. And I think also as well, I think for a lot of people, there's been a lot of kind of frustration and anger. So it's also good to get a notebook and pen and write things down and release that, like the possibility to go outside and burn it, or burn it in a safe way, maybe in a pan or something with a lid on.
Encouraging people to set fire to their homes, Debbie.
Yeah, we don't want to be the phoenix rising out of the ashes, not this week. Anyway, we are a soul and a human body, and we're here to experience emotions. So it's like, okay, if I want to be a bit pissed off today, I can be. And okay, but I'm not going to let it dictate my life. So whether that is going out in your garden and, getting a spade and digging a big hole and planting something, but, it's finding something that can release that kind of emotion and tension. I'm going to do that positive affirmation. I'm going to focus on, the reality I want, the kind of 3D reality and the 5D reality. We do have the power and the resources to move more into that loving, upbeat 5D energy, and very much about loving ourselves at the moment, of being in your own space. We've got to be kind to ourselves. We've got to love ourselves because we are human.
How you're feeling about the situation, because it doesn't do you any good to your psyche to put things under the carpet. And I'm certainly not saying, let's all just be happy, clappy, spirit free, hugging trees, pretending that everything's okay when we know it's not.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
This is about keeping your vibration high. So what I'm suggesting is that even in the face of difficult situations, it's an opportunity for us to be able to learn how, because often we're so busy with so many different things. There are no distractions right now. We only have ourselves to deal with. So it is a good opportunity. And I personally have been on a journey of, before that I was entrenched, like a lot of people, with having a job and a career, and focused on my relationships and my holidays and fashion. And for me, and then so when all that is taken away and stripped away, I stripped that out of my life. And as you know, you gave me a couple of readings back in the day where I ventured out with nothing and not know. What I would suggest to people is that is definitely a good way of getting to know, who are you. It's like re-evaluating like who you are as a person. What are your values? I know we're very confused at the moment, but it is an opportunity to look inward.
In a space of 4 years, I think I moved about 4 times.
You're catching up.
I never saw it. It's funny, isn't it? And I feel as though that was so good, because I did declutter and I did move on. And most of the time, I hadn't really planned that I was going to move. I just went with a feeling. And it was like I needed to move on. And like, as you know, where I'm living now, I lived here previously. And then, ever loved was in this room all around me. It was great. It was like within, hand's reach, that anything I wanted, it was just around me. I did that for 6 months, and it gave me a lot of sense of freedom, and without any worry of, external bills and things like that. And it was a really kind of powerful time. There are challenges, but within those challenges are a lot of growth. And myself, through all my moves, I've come back to where I started, but I've come back a completely different person from when I started. So what would have worried me, over 4 years ago, now doesn't seem to bother me at all. And I think that, it's a bit like, don't sweat the small stuff, because most of the time we've all been too busy to just stop a minute and take a deep breath and say, what is it do you really want? What really resonates with you? What really makes you happy? So we've kind of had a pause now for nearly a year to kind of say, okay, what does resonate with me? What does make me happy? What are my needs? And I think for a lot of us, we would find that our needs are a lot less than we thought they were. And cutting cords and clearing things from other people. I think from doing that and being an example of that, then people will say, how are you getting on? How are you coping? Don't you look great? What you've been doing? And just passing on those revelations and small things that each of us done personally that can help so many other people. Because we're all in a different space at the moment. We're on a different, journey at the moment. And what they're doing and how they can help people who maybe just have never thought about relating in this way. Because everyone's masked up.
Yeah, I mean, and I definitely get, I personally obviously have a lot of views which the viewers may not share on world politics, etc., and what's going on in the world. But even on a spiritual level, we've been told that this is the beginning of age of Aquarius. For me, it feels like a big reset. Some of us, we'd like to say that we're in the 5D because we've been working on ourselves for a long time. This is not unexpected. We were meant to be here. I always put myself first, although I am a human. I'm here to elevate myself as a human to my highest potential, to my highest vibration, and that's what I'm consistently working towards. Now, some of us may well have started that journey a long time ago, and some of us may be new to it. So then, something like this is going to be a bit of a shock. There may be other things coming out about the whole fabric of our existence that's going to shock people. But what I would suggest to people is that this is a good thing, because nothing new can start unless the old collapses. So there is a period of confusion, of disarray, of things being different. And what I would say to people is, if they think they're going to go back to the normal, think again. because there is no normal anymore. And certainly, like from what you're saying and what I'm saying about the journey that we've been on, where we strip that away, you know, perhaps you do get a bit more resilient because you're so used to the fact of being in a changed environment and trying new things and being different. So, you know, you're not so ensconced in an identity and a job and a family and things that you've done for, you know, for all your life. And so now suddenly, you know, unfortunately, we are getting people out there that just can't cope. I wouldn't want to be in a situation right now having to uncover myself under this amount of pressure. But unfortunately, like I talk about in my book, Freedom of the Soul, Fly Like a Bird, woohoo, one has to do the work to elevate oneself. There's no other way.
Yeah, I think it's put more of a spotlight on looking at the self and making those questions. And as you said, on this journey from when I was 15, so that process of letting go of things, letting go of, you know, relationships, letting go of homes, letting go of situations, letting go of jobs. I do like challenges, whereas many people don't like challenges. And when I do sessions with people, you know, they're telling you you're in for a surprise. And the amount of people that equate surprises with something that's not good, that they don't really want. And I have to kind of say, but no, this is a good surprise, you know. And I think, again, it's where you put your focus on it. And I have to say, oh no, this surprise looks really good. I've got feeling really good energy about this, you know. Embrace, you know, those good surprises, and grace, you know, be open to change coming in, be open to what's for your highest, you know, good. And I think, again, it's people changing their way of thinking and looking at life, draining the jug of the old stuff and allowing new stuff to flow in. Acknowledge that this is a turning point. And it's all, you know, wonderful stuff here. So
yeah, because certainly when I, you know, obviously I channeled my book myself, so I have my own, but certainly, you know, if you look at the channelings from a lot of people in the spiritual community, you know, it is all very, very, the feedback, if you like, you know, is all very, very positive. You know, is to stay calm and to trust and to have faith. There's like, where are you putting your focus? Are you putting your focus on what's going on, what your family members are saying? You know, I happen to have very opposite views to the person I live with. We're, you know, from an angelic point of view, if we are evolving as a human species, then we have to meet in the middle. It's about compassion. It's about understanding the other person. But if you're sitting there and putting your focus on fear, then guess what's going to happen? You're going to create more fear. So are you listening to the news all day because you've got nothing else to do? Or are you going, you know, to other alternative media and looking at different things in a different way?
yeah,
you know, are you changing your patterns right now and thinking, hold on a sec, this doesn't feel right, and using your intuition kind of value into what's happening, some kind of lifting up rather than fear about what's going wrong.
Great channeled work, there's great, you know, even scientific information out there that gives truth. But I think this is where it comes back, that we have to share what we know. So, you know, we're sharing this, that we hope that people go on and try simple things out and share them with other people, because there is also a big generation of people that, I'm sadly to say, will just be sitting in front of the TV and just looking at that, and that's the only information they get, and focusing in one place and not realizing that they have the ability to look at things differently, and also to reduce that sense of anxiety and fear. Acknowledge, you know, our own wisdom, our own knowledge, and learn to speak up a bit more. And really, as a society, that we've always had our different viewpoints, it's just now being put under the microscope. It's okay to be unique as well. It's all right to have our own truth. So I think now is a need to listen to people and not judge. I think that is, and that's a big lesson, I think.
By focusing on the positive, and what I mean by that is looking at the way that you take information in and what is being presented to you, full sovereign rights to co-create our own reality. And this is what I talk about, the laws of attraction. I think it's so important for people to understand that. But we are living in a society where we have become desensitized to lots of different things, and we've become a godless, soulless society. I think it's very dangerous. So at this point, I think the fact that we're being forced to stay in our homes, forced to look at our communities and not keep drifting out, it's taking us back to the base, and I think once we've got through this blip of what we're going for, which I believe is a big reset for the whole planet, then it is the responsibility is still ours on an individual level to go back to, what we've created isn't good for the human spirit.
So there is that sense of care and consideration. And I think that is an important thing, of having that essence of kindness towards people. And, I go back to that kind of non-judgment. And, we can't kind of say this is what's going to work for you. We can just give those tools out and people decide for themselves what's going to work for them. And I think that, keeping the vibe high, we've been laughing, and I think laughter is such a big thing. And, everyone's just focusing on that little box in the room. Why can't we have some funny things put on more? And, I don't know why I say this, making me laugh just saying it, but I feel as though I want to bring back Freddie Starr, He was just so funny. And I just think people really need to have that real belly laugh, because I feel as though it just, shifts things around and makes you feel so much better, because that is so good for the soul. It's so neat.
It is switching off. I used to like my reality shows, and you recommended a show to me last night. I mean, it might be very, very shallow at one level, but it's fun, it's entertaining, it stops you thinking about what's going on. It disengages you, and whether you do that by reading an amazing book, I used, certainly you and I would remember a time when there weren't any mobile phones.
No, girl, I remember black and white TVs, come along.
Yeah, exactly. So what did people do? I mean, there are some obvious things. Taking more time, like you've got your time back, so own it. And for me, like a quality life, and if we are moving into this new age of Aquarius, which I think we are, it's about working less and enjoying more. Surely to God, that is a society we want to live in. We don't want to live in a society where people are, especially women, so doing things together, and it's just the simple things like having a whole day just riding out whatever, just doing things together,
and being creative. I think we've lost the capacity to be creative. And I know from when I grew up, I used to make my own clothes and things like that, and often you got the material and you got the pattern. And it was a joy to do that, cut it all out and make yourself a skirt in a few days. And nowadays, I should think, younger generation, if you kind of said, oh, go and make yourself a skirt, they kind of say, no, I don't think so. Going back to being in that creative flow as well, because I think it gives you pleasure in doing that. And also its own to, decide, well, maybe I will get some paints and decide to paint, some flowers. So it's the simple things that we remember in life, isn't it? We look back on memories as well. It's those simple pleasures, or maybe going to the beach or flying a kite with family members, than the holiday to Florida that cost X amount. That it is those simple things. It's those memories, and this is an opportunity, isn't it, to also try and make some memory.
To the end of our sort of hour now that we planned, so with closing thoughts, I suppose, for me, we are in different times, but again, it's like molding yourself to a different time and changing it up, seeing it as an opportunity rather than a threat. Moving out of fear into going back to the simple things in life. Stop putting so much pressure on yourself about what you would be doing, because as you know, in the laws of manifestation, the law is state what you want, not what you don't want, and we're all programmed to do that.
No, definitely I think, and that's something that natural thing is that we go towards what we haven't got, what we're missing, and not focusing on what we have. And I'm very blessed because I'm here and I've got my family near me, well, my daughters and my grandson. But of course, there's a lot of people that haven't, got that opportunity to be near family. And I think it's also looking at, we are in an age to be thankful for that, though you can't be with loved ones and can't see them, there are ways of interacting with them.
Creativity shouldn't have a price. We shouldn't have to live in a world where everything has a material value. That is intrinsically wrong, actually.
So there's lots of shifts and changes going on at the moment, and I suppose it is very much just going with the ebb and the flow, but looking at different ways of just keeping in balance as it happens. That's, and finding what resonates for everybody, what resonates for each person. That is the important thing. So,
well, listen, Debbie, I hope you'll join me again. And we
of course I will. Of course I will, as you see.
Tuning in to the Daily LifeBuzz show to create the buzz in your life. Where people can get in touch with you?
Yes, I've now, as I said, I started my spiritual journey from the age of 15. So I'm a spiritual life coach. I channel people's readings. Majority of my work I do via Zoom. So I just give people tools and guidance to really allow them to see all the opportunities in their life to have a more positive and better life. I do enjoy this because it's always kind of like the best one to go on, because it links with my new one is www.angelsoflight.co.uk. I am on Facebook, Debbie Clayton and Deborah Clayton as well. Mostly I just want to empower people, and so I do individual training, you could say, but I want to kind of say empower spiritually and psychically and clairvoyantly. But also as well, I do sessions called the Threefold Plan that really helps to kind of like fine tune what's going on, and this can stretch from where you are now back to past lives. It can go back also through your ancestors.
Obviously, I've got my YouTube channel. I'm setting up my website this year for my book, Freedom of the Soul, Fly Like a Bird. And a lot of the stuff that we've talked about, I've put that into my own book, and the laws of attraction. I obviously have my Facebook author page as well, which you can check out, where I do my daily book readings. So please stay tuned in for future shows, and want to just say thank you and thanks for tuning in today.